Hello everybody and welcome to another episode in our WCW series in TEW 2020. I of course am CR Daredevil and I'm bringing you all of the live action as we are 6 days away. That's right, six of them, 6 days away from Bash of the Beach 1996 and all of the craziness that's going to happen at that show, including the big 8-man tag team matchup with the NWO, the New World Order taking on Steve Austin, the Road Warriors, and Johnny B. Bad. Of course, the main event of that show being none other than the WCW World's Heavyweight Championship on the line as Sting challenges for the belt he held for months until last month as he challenges Bam Bam Bigelow, the current champion, for that championship. But we will see the show get run down as tonight's Nitro goes on. So let's dive into the action. We start things off with Steve Austin starting off Nitro with a promo clearly set to mock the NWO style of videos. It's the black and white, moving around a little bit kind of style, the style that everybody kind of has come to expect with the NWO style of videos. Austin says that he could stand here and mock the NWO the same way they do. They do so. Slight grammar error there. The same way they do, but he's not that type of person. He's not the type to stand here and talk about some stupid plan. He's not the type to stand here and do anything that the NWO, that the New World Order would do, because he's not a coward. He doesn't stand by and depend on the numbers in order to fight. He shows up and he starts swinging no matter if there's one person or 100 people. So this Sunday he's going to show up and he's going to start swinging at every member of the NWO until they crawl away with their tails tucked between their legs. Because unlike the New World Order, WCW and Steve Austin is here to stay. 99 rating for the segment. Good start to the show as we get a hot promo from Steve Austin here, hyping up the match this coming Sunday in front of 10,000, a sold-out packed house in the Manley Field house. We move on from that to the commentators putting over tonight's Nitro, including a matchup featuring Jerry Lynn and Sean Waltman of the New World Order taking on the Road Warriors, as well as the main event featuring Chris Benoit going one-on-one with Eddie Guerrero. Should be one hell of a contest there in the main event. After that, we go backstage. Nice. We go backstage we have Alex Wright standing by with Gene Okerlund, and Okerlund is asking Alex Wright about this past WCW Saturday night, where Alex Wright and Chris Jericho were actually forced to team up in the main event of the show. And despite having been forced to team up, and despite the issues that they have with each other, they were actually able to get the win, surprisingly enough. Alex Wright says that Chris Jericho is an arrogant loudmouth who always tries to get the spotlight, hence why he stole the victory on Saturday night. Of course, Alex Wright had the match, won on Saturday night, but Jericho tagged himself in, blind tagged himself in over, and while the two were arguing over, Jericho rolled up his opponent and used the tights to get the victory. Alex Wright says that this coming Sunday night they will be in that ring again, but this time against each other. He says that he is a former television champion and that he's going to make sure that he shuts Jericho's loud mouth as he reclaims the championship. So kind of a basic promo from Alex Wright, but kind of gives it a little bit of a story, a little bit of something heading into the matchup. 67 rating for the segment, which is really good for Alex Wright promo. He invented a new catchphrase that will likely boost his ability on the microphone as he now has a go-to line. I don't know what his go-to line is, but maybe he's hyping up the fact that he's dancing with Saturday Night Fever or something like that. Shouts out to Wrestling Bio if you guys watch that at all. Yeah. Alex Wright getting a new catchphrase apparently, and getting the crowd hotter for tonight's show as he gets a 67 rated promo. The finals of the television title tournament happening at Bash of the Beach. Alex Wright and Chris Jericho one-on-one with the TV title on the line. After that, we go to the ring, where in a decent matchup, Barry Windham defeats Al Snow in 7:23 by pinfall to Superplex. 72 rating for the match. Good rating there, as Barry Windham gets 71, Al Snow gets 57. Commentators kind of talk about the fact that Barry Windham has offered to watch Dustin Rhodes' back in that U.S. title matchup this coming Sunday. But surprisingly enough, no members of the Horsemen show up. It's just these two going at it, and Barry Windham gets the victory. Afterwards, we go backstage where Bull Nakano is there. Bull Nakano and Sonny Ono, that is, are standing by with Gene Okerlund. And Gene asks about the Great American Bash. Of course, at the Great American Bash last month, Bull Nakano defeated Medusa. Ono goes to speak, but he's cut off by Bull Nakano. Nakano, surprisingly enough, then says that she is issuing an open challenge for Bash of the Beach, and she looks forward to squashing whoever shows up. So, Bull Nakano can apparently speak on her own. She walks away before Sonny Ono starts laughing a little bit. When Gene asks him what's so funny, Ono says that WCW better prepare a hospital bed for Nakano's victim before laughing again and walking away. So, we are going to have an open challenge at Bash of the Beach. Bull Nakano's challenging anybody on the roster to come out and face her. We're not sure who it's going to be. Is Medusa going to answer to try to get her victory back after losing at the Great American Bash? Is it going to be somebody else answering? No idea. We're not sure, but we'll be finding out this Sunday. We will be finding out this Sunday for sure. After that, we get a quick little music video just hyping up the Rock and Roll Express, giving them a little bit of highlights so far, their time in WCW and all that. Not really much of anything. It's just, like basically a 1 minute video, just hyping up or just kind of promoting the Rock and Roll Express. After that music video, though, we go to the ring. We're in a good matchup, a 75 rated matchup. Holy cow. The NWO with everybody at ringside. Austin was there. Johnny B. Bad was there. Paul Levesque was there. The mystery fourth member was there. Ted DiBiase was there. Everybody was at ringside. There was a brawl during the matchup on the outside, between the members on the outside. And in a good matchup, Jerry Lawler, I don't know how the hell I got there. Jerry Lynn and Sean Waltman defeated the Road Warriors in 1046 when Waltman pinned Road Warrior Animal after interference of Ted DiBiase. 75 rating for the match. Hawk with a 74 rating, which is good there. Animal with a 66. Jerry Lynn with a 58. Still continuing to get better and better in-ring performance-wise ever since we've associated him with the NWO. And Sean Waltman with a 66, as there was a lack of psychology, but I'll take it. I'll take a 75 rated match for sure. So the NWO getting the momentum heading into this Sunday's match as security officials come down, trying to stop the fight fight happening. NWO kind of celebrating their victory. After that, we go to commercial break. We come back from the commercial break, and we have Booker T coming out. Booker T has a match here tonight. His opponent is not announced, but it doesn't matter because the match doesn't even happen because he gets jumped from behind by Lex Luger. Luger starts beating Booker T down before putting him up in the torture rack. Security officials come out to try to break things up, but they don't really have any success until Singh shows up and starts yelling at Luger, asking him what he's doing. After a few moments, Luger finally releases Booker, but doesn't really respond to Sting at all, just kind of stares at Booker T, who's laid out on the ground, hurting, in pain. Singh tries to find out why Luger did what he just did, but he gets no answer as Lex Luger just heads to the back. Sting checks on Booker, who pushes him away before Stevie Ray comes out to confront Sting. Sting kind of backs away, saying he wasn't responsible for this as Stevie Ray checks on Booker T. 80 rating for the segment. Clearly, the issues between Lex Luger and Harlem Heat are far from over. So, there's that. Not sure what that's going to end up leading to, but Lex Luger attacking Booker T when he was on his way to the ring for a match. We then go backstage after that attack to see that the man who Booker T was supposed to be facing here tonight, Earl Robert Eaton, is also laid out. Well, this time he's laid out backstage. It was going to be Booker T and Earl Robert Eaton here tonight, and both men ended up getting attacked. However, Earl Robert Eaton, we have no idea who attacked him. He's just found motionless on the floor as Regal is screaming out for someone to come check on him. Roddy Piper shows up with some security officials and asks if Regal saw what happened, Regal says that if he saw who it was, security would be bloody having to pull Regal off of the attacker right now, wouldn't they? Piper puts his hands up in the feet, just kind of like, okay, sorry, I'll back off. Before saying that he's going to do some asking around to find out if anyone saw anything. Regal said that Piper had better hope that Piper found whoever did it first before walking off as medical professionals check on Robert Eaton. So Steven Regal is absolutely livid about the fact that his tag team partner was just attacked backstage, and seems like he's getting ready to go beat someone up. He's ready to go really put fists to someone's face, essentially. 83 rating for the segment. We're having some pretty good segments here tonight, for sure. After that, we get a 99 rated segment, where we have Randy Savage with a pre-tape promo about his match this Sunday. He says that Cactus Jack continues to talk about his encounter with the Giant, about how his encounter with the Giant brought the madness out, but it was already there before the Giant ever fee-fi-fo fummed his way into Savage's world. Can you imagine Randy Savage saying that part? He struggled to keep his sanity in check after losing time and time again because everyone wanted to cheat to win. They wanted to get others involved. They wanted to use underhanded tactics. And then began to dawn on Randy Savage. Why should he play nice when he gets him nowhere in this business? Why should he play by the rules when the rules are constantly being ignored anyway? So he decided to just throw the rule book out the window. He decided to just stop caring about kissing babies and shaking hands and getting the crowd cheering for him. And he came back full of madness and was able to do what nobody else has been able to do before, since, after, whatever, and that is to conquer the Giant. He's the only one who's actually defeated the Giant by pinfall here in WCW. So Cactus Jack wants to claim that this is a bad thing, that it's a bad thing that the madness is running wild through or that the madness is coursing through the veins of Randy Savage. Savage doesn't care, because his emotions are right where he wants them, and the macho madness is truly running wild. So huge words right before the match of this Sunday. Randy Savage embracing the madness, embracing the fact that he is unleashing everything within him at this point. It was able to allow him to conquer the Giant. Can it allow him to take out or to destroy Cactus Jack this coming Sunday in the Falls Count Anywhere matchup? After that, we go back to the ring. In a 59 rated matchup, we have Brad Armstrong defeat Christopher Daniels in 702 by pinfall with a Russian leg sweep. The commentators having a little bit of some interesting words during this, as they we get the commentators kind of talking a little bit about the potential of a cruiserweight division here in WCW. They kind of start talking about how there's talks happening by the board of directors of a cruiserweight division here in WCW, and that the two men in this matchup, Christopher Daniels and Brad Armstrong, along with some others in the back, could be potentially considered for the said cruiserweight division, as it will be a division where, high-flying athletes are able to show off their athletic abilities, their speed, and their quickness and all that, and have a chance to shine among the roster here in WCW. So, but Brad Armstrong does get the victory in 702 in a pretty decent matchup. But obviously the thing more of note in this is obviously the mention of the Cruiserweight division, the potential talks of that. I'm going to bring up something after Nitro that might help kind of clarify why that was a thing. But yeah, we'll save that for then. After that match, we go somewhere. There we go. We go to a video package, video basically, that the Outlaws have kind of ahead of their battle with Simply Wonderful this Saturday on WCW Saturday Night. There's actually a little bit of pre-booked stuff happening on this Saturday night on WCW Saturday Night, as we're going to have the Outlaws taking on Simply Wonderful this Saturday night, and said they wanted any and all tag teams to show up to take on the Outlaws, so I have no problem tying up Simply Wonderful like the cattle they are and continuing to prove themselves to those in charge here in WCW. So just basically a little promo. Only gets 48 rating because they're not great talkers at this point, but it's kind of just hyping up that match. I think there's at least one or two other things that get mentioned about this coming Saturday night on the show as well. Then we get a quick interview from the Giant. Giant is interviewed before his match up next and says that he's going to treat Rick Martel here tonight just like he will Rikishi Fatu whenever they step into the ring with each other again. He's going to beat the heart and the courage right out of Martel and send him straight to a hospital bed. Then he says that he hopes that Rikishi Fatu is watching very closely. 79 rating for the interview, increasing heat for the storyline, which is always a good thing. Giant versus Rick Martel happens up next, and the Giant, kind of predictably, does defeat Rick Martel in 621 by pinfall to Big Boot. Gets an 80 rating, though, which is really good. Rick Martel actually with a 69. 77 for Giant, so Rick Martel was actually kind of right up there with the Giant when it comes to in-ring performance-wise. But the Giant able to get the victory. Rikishi Fatu did come out partway through the match to join the commentators and kind of talked about how he's not afraid of the Giant and that when he gets that opportunity to step into the ring with him, he will do what is necessary to topple the Giant. Kind of a basic little babyface message about the Giant, as we'll have to see when that match ever ends up happening in the future. After that, we go backstage where Sting is approached by Roddy Piper. Piper is upset about what happened earlier in the night. Piper was obviously too busy with what happened with Earl Robert Eaton to know about the attack by Lex Luger on Booker T. Sting says he had absolutely nothing to do with Luger's attack, and he's still looking for Luger to try to figure out why the hell Luger did that. Piper tells Sting that when he finds Luger, he can tell him that this Sunday, Lex Luger versus Booker T is now scheduled for Bash at the Beach. Sting expresses disappointment in what's happened as the commentators talk about how all of this happening may result in Sting being distracted from his own world title match. So Sting, having to deal with Luger, who's currently out for blood when it comes to the Harlem Heat, it seems like at this point, kind of being dragged along as a third wheel in that situation, I guess, despite the fact that he's supposed to be focusing on Bam Bam Bigelow in the WCW World's Heavyweight Championship this Sunday, so we're going to have to see how that all plays out. Speaking of said World's Heavyweight Champion, Bam Bam has a gimmick that skins tail, so I'll have to remember that. Bam Bam Bigelow is backstage with Percy Pringle and Vader. Pringle introduces Bigelow as the greatest monster in the world today. Bigelow says that he doesn't care about the drama with Sting and Luger. He doesn't care about the drama involving Harlem Heat. He cares about this, raising the WCW World's Heavyweight Championship off of his shoulder. He says he isn't looking for sympathy, but he spent too goddamn long in places full of people that hated him and hated his guts for what he could do, fighting and destroying people to get to this championship. Kind of unofficially name-dropping a certain company in the process. And if he has to beat the hell out of every single one of those aforementioned people to hold on to it, then he'll do so with a sadistic smile on his face. Sting may be one of the best in the business, but Bam Bam Bigelow will not be stopped, and this Sunday the world will watch in shock as he once again stands tall, still the WCW World's Heavyweight Champion. So some strong words from our champion. 80 rating for the match, or for the segment, that is. Strong words from the champion heading into the match against Sting this Sunday. We're going to have to see what happens. Sting is focused and determined. He's wanting to focus on this title match, but with everything that happened with Luger tonight, that focus might be going elsewhere. He might not have the focus that he needs to beat Bam Bam Bigelow in the rematch. And then at that point, what happens? Sting obviously wouldn't get another rematch, so I guess they move on to who's next, but it's going to be a mess for sure. We'll have to see how all that plays out. Can Bam Bam Bigelow defeat Sting and retain the World Heavyweight Championship this Sunday? After that, we go back to the ring for our main event, which only gets a 76. I should have remembered that from last time. Ran this match late last year, and I remembered that they had great in-ring performances, but that the match ratings suffered because of the lack of psychology, and then again tonight I forgot to do it. I did put the match shorter this time, though. But it's kind of weird because both men, I don't understand why there's a lack of psychology, because it's only a 12.5-minute matchup, and both men have at least 70 in psychology, so I don't know why that's a thing. Now, admittedly, I did take them off of being scripted in this match because of their psychology ratings, so maybe that's what did it. Maybe if I kept them scripted, maybe they would have been better at it. I don't know for sure. But I'll still take a 76. That's not a bad rating for a Nitro main event. As Chris Benoit defeats Eddie Guerrero by pinfall, Diamond Dallas Page does provide the distraction on Eddie Guerrero during the matchup itself. Chris Benoit able to get the victory on Eddie Guerrero. Of course, the last time these two met one-on-one, Eddie Guerrero was able to defeat Benoit with the United States Championship on the line. So now technically one-on-one setting-wise, they are 1-1 with each other. So we have to see a third outing sometime in the near future. But of course, this is also hyping up the big 6-man tag match happening this Sunday with Benoit, Ric Flair, and Diamond Dallas Page teaming up to take on Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Ron Simmons. Speaking of the rest of those men, after the match, Flair, Pillman, and Page hit the ring to attack Eddie Guerrero until Dustin, Rhodes, Dean Malenko, and Ron Simmons make the save. All 8 men fight with each other as Nitro goes off the air. Big old brawl happening as Dustin Rhodes came out to fight with Brian Pillman, his opponent, this Sunday with the United States Championship on the line. And of course, as I just mentioned, the other matchup happening as well. 80 rating, I'll take it. That's our go home for Bash at the Beach. The Nitro itself gets a rating of 89. Let's go. I'll take it for sure. We had 3 different segments on this show with a 99 rating, which is really good. I'll take it. I will take an 89 rating. So there you go. So I did mention I did say I was gonna mention it after the show. So a little bit of a problem. I wanted to build a women's division in WCW. I thought it'd be really cool to build a women's division in WCW in 1996. So that was, my focus. That was my goal, my focus, all that kind of stuff. Then in the last couple of weeks, WWF has managed to steal 3 of those women away from me, including Aja Kong. So it's kind of hard to continue having a women's division if out of the few women that are even available to wrestle in America at this time, a few more of them just got taken into WWF. So, women's division has to go on a little bit of a back burner. They'll still be around. They'll still be wrestling. You guys haven't really been seeing too much of it because it's been happening on Saturday night, but that division kind of has to take a little bit of a back burner step at this point in time, just because I don't have the roster anymore for it. We still have Medusa, still have Bull Nakano, still have a few others, but starting to lose numbers at this point. I'm starting to consider, because all the females except for Medusa were here on handshake deals, because at the time I was like, I don't know how well the division's going to work out, and then they haven't really, they've been slowly progressing, but not really progressing. So I haven't been offered any written deals yet to them. I tried offering written deals to the ones who went to WWF, but I wasn't willing to pay what WWF was willing to pay them. So it's going to be interesting. But that's why I decided to flip the switch, so to speak, and start to develop the Cruiserweight division instead. Because the Cruiserweight division, I have the pieces in place right now. I can do the Cruiserweight division, even though I wanted to wait until late 96, early 97 before I started introducing that. I have the pieces in place right now to run with it. So I think that's why we're going to kind of switch gears, kind of flip them around a little bit. I'll slowly try to build up the women's division a little bit more, and then put it as a little bit more of a focal point heading into 90, kind of flip them essentially. So the women's division will start being a little bit more highlighting coming into like 97 and stuff. But yeah, that's where we're kind of at with that. A couple of other notes that I want to bring up, but we're going to look at the ratings, of course, for this week. Once again, better show, more viewers, continuing to win the Monday Night Wars at this point. Raw had Undertaker and Yokozuna teaming up against the New Wave Outlaws on Raw, which the New Wave Outlaws are Marty Jannetty and Brian Knobbs. So, you know, there's that. This one I thought was hilarious. So the Midnight Stars defeated Team Crime for the WWF World Tag Team titles on Raw. So Team Crime is was not here. Team Crime is Bob Holly and Mark Canterbury, and Dutch Mantel and Jeff Jarrett, or Uncle Zebekiah and Jeff Jarrett, that is, are the Midnight Stars. So the current WWF Tag Team Champions is Uncle Zebekiah and Jeff Jarrett. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a thing. So yeah, that's all stuff that happened. Do want to mention as well, let me flip over because I don't remember if I have anything that's going to spoil. Yeah, there's something that would have been spoiled if I had kept it on there. So do want to bring this up as well. We had some other issues happen, which I'll show you guys here. So, as you know, as of right now, Arn Anderson is on hiatus. No idea when he's coming back to the business after he just kind of up and left. Dean Malenko is working through an injury, which is why I had to write his match off last week. But he will be back in time for this Sunday's match. Meng is obviously injured, although he's going to be back in about a month's time. But then some other medical stuff happened. So, as you see here, Chris Kanyon is in rehab. He's been in rehab for about a month or so now, which is why he hasn't been showing up on TV at all. He wasn't really showing up on TV much before that anyway, or at least not for what you guys could see. He was more working Saturday nights. But he's been in rehab for about a month or so now. However, as you can see, there's two other names there who have recently been pretty decently used that are now in rehab. Big Bubba Rogers tested positive for hard drugs, maybe? No, painkillers. That's what it was. I had to think about it for a second. Big Bubba Rogers apparently had a painkiller addiction, so we sent his ass off to rehab. And of course, they gave us a 7-month one for his rehab. On the same night, well, literally, both of these happened after this past Saturday night. After this past Saturday night was taped. Literally at the same time, Jesse James Armstrong tested positive for hard drugs. So his ass went to rehab, and his ass has a 7-month rehab stint now. So there goes the Jesse James Armstrong push for the time being. He is off at rehab as well. So Big Bubba Rogers, I was slowly phasing out. He was going to be more of using him to occasionally put people over at times and all that. But Jesse James Armstrong, I obviously was starting to get a little bit of momentum behind. And now he's in rehab for 7 months. Which, by the way, it's probably a good thing I didn't put him over in the TV title tournament. But, yeah. So, Jesse James Armstrong is also in rehab now, which is fun. So much fun. Anywho, this coming Sunday on the channel, it's going to be WCW Bash at the Beach in 1996 with one hell of a show ahead of us. As I have mentioned, the show as it is, as of right now, features the newly added Open Challenge by Bull Nakano. We'll have to see who answers that challenge. It also features the newly added Booker T versus Lex Luger match. We, of course, have the Horseman and Diamond Dallas Page, or Chris Benoit, Ric Flair, and Diamond Dallas Page, taking on Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Ron Simmons. We have the television championship on the line as Chris Jericho and Alex Wright go at it for the vacant title. We have the United States Championship on the line as Dustin Rhodes goes one-on-one with the champion Brian Pillman. We have the big 8-man tag match, that is, with the New World Order taking on the Road Warriors. Johnny B. Bad and Steve Austin. We have Randy Savage versus Cactus Jack in a Falls Count Anywhere matchup. And of course, the main event of the show, the World's Heavyweight Championship on the line. Sting challenging for the championship, currently being held by Bam Bam Bigelow. That is only 8 matches. That is probably going to only try to do 8 matches on that show, which I know is kind of crazy for us because usually we're running like 10 or so matches on pay-per-views. But we're only going to run 8 matches because we're going to have a few more segments than normal, as well as some other planned stuff that I have. But that is our show for this coming Sunday. Bash at the Beach is going to be super hyped. It is going to be a huge deal. And we're going to have to see how it all plays out. But thank you for watching. Definitely appreciate all of the popularity that this series continues to have. I know I'm kind of trying out some other stuff on the channel, some non-TEW stuff and all that, and I appreciate any and all views and entertainment that you guys get out of those videos as well. But do not worry, the WCW series is not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm having way too much fun with it, and we're going to have to see how things continue to play out over the summer of 1996. And the only way we can find out is by tuning in this Sunday to see what happens at Bash at the Beach.